Johnson, do you plan to continue to represent yourself in this matter? She says yes. Then they said, okay, and Miss Blackman, do you wish to represent yourself? Hold on. It says, okay, and Miss Blackman, do you plan to represent yourself in this matter, or do you need? And then she said, most likely not. I will probably seek legal counsel. The court said, so what I will do is give you a short date to obtain an attorney. And I don't know why she couldn't have more time, because he was saying that he didn't want to extend it out through August. And that's how they came up with the July court date that she didn't come to. That's the court date, because he told them in this court date that if for whatever reason, if they didn't show up, if they told he told Quadajah, if she didn't show up, that her order would be terminated or thrown out, and if Romeca didn't show up, then she would the order would be granted by default for 2 years. But yeah, so Romeca was wanting an attorney. She didn't want to fight this alone, and we know that she was having difficulty. She was moving back and forth. She was being stalked. She was being harassed. Her job, everywhere, nowhere was peaceful for her. And so she had the courts after her. She had Carlos and Holly after her. She had the landlords after her too, because Carlos allegedly, I mean, he was breaking up stuff, and I don't know, she was working all the time. She was going through a horrible phase, she was going through a horrible time. But so the court says, so what I will do, she said, I will possibly seek legal counsel. So what I will do is give you a short date to try to find legal counsel, and then we will move forward once counsel appears to set this for a hearing date. Okay, so does Wednesday, July 9th at 1:30 work for the parties, Miss Johnson? And Romeca said, no, that doesn't work for me. And it don't work for her because she is a nursing student. She works and all of that stuff. So we gonna get to that part. Hold on. She said, I'm in nursing school and I also work mostly 16-hour shifts. So no, that doesn't work for me. I don't get a break from nursing school until August, honestly, because I take night classes. So that is so sad that, okay, so here's what's in common with August. She'll get a break from her nursing school. So right before she passed, she was on a break. She was on a break. As a matter of fact, her son's first day of school was August 18th. Okay. So let's go back to that post that she had posted on August 20th. So that gives us an idea of what she possibly was going through at that time. She was irritated. She was tired of him doing whatever he was doing, accusing her of being such a hoe. I don't want you. Now let's read this now that we know what he said. Because he said that they started back talking the end of August, and it was because he had changed his number, she changed hers. He didn't know that first. She wasn't asking for his help, and his sister needed him to get his son. She had been helping her for the 2 months. So the end of August, when he claiming that they got back cool, she was posting, how long does it take for a baby daddy to get over his first baby mama? Asking for myself, because this anger got to get off my D. and be a dad. I'm tired of getting popped up on my job and school, ready to get fought on. So this is everything that was going on in the midst of them not talking, okay? Um, go fighting them bees. You clearly don't want. I only argue with you about my son, and I'm a million uh she a million hoes, and he disrespecting her, she sleeping with people and all of this. So see, in them 2 months that they wasn't talking, he was accusing her of messing with somebody else, even though he got a whole woman pregnant, and expect for her to deal with that. If that ain't narcissistic, I don't know what the hell is. So now that we done heard August fly up out of his mouth when she was posting stuff like this in August, now we know everything that he was doing or alleged to be doing during those silent times. So every time he speaks, he tell on himself, because Romeca already spoke up for herself. And the courts can see that. All they gotta do is go to her page and just see everything. And her phone and all the back and forths and all of that stuff. Like, so I mean, she's saying right there that she only fuss and fight with him about the son. He admitted that he changed his number because he wanted her to need him. So there you have it. He really was not helping her with her son, and she was frustrated about it. And they was still into it at the end of August, but he said they got back cool. So something ain't adding up. The math ain't mathing right. Okay. And he was accusing her, I'm such a hoe, but don't want you. On my mama, G, you don't have my number or address. So she confirms that. I'm tired of you playing with my name on me. Mr. Always say I'ma do or buy my son something and don't. I'm finna start eating you up. I hate you. I hate my baby mama, man. So wait, she called him a baby mama. Because that was supposed to say BD, that say BM. But anyway, yeah. So everything that he said on that call was a damn lie. Everything that I was just repeating was a lie, according to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, some of this stuff can be pieced together. So on top of all that, I'm in nursing school. I always work mostly 16-hour shifts. So she owns some real career type stuff. He a hustler. He's a street guy, right? Everything he do, according to his record, is fraudulent. All that kind of stuff. So she's trying to obtain a real job with benefits that's gonna help her for the rest of her life, right? Her and her son. And he is in the midst of trying to get this girl fired from her job when she busting her butt, going to nursing school at night, working 16 hours a day, only parent that's active. And finally, she got a sister to help her. And all he can do is think about himself. Not none of that. That's sad. That is sad. I don't get a break from nursing school until August, honestly, but I've taken night classes. Okay, so we're going to have to set a date. What date in July works for you? Now, keep in mind, this is June. In my last live stream, I also showed that July 14th was supposed to be their next court date. As a matter of fact, I got that right here. Holly was there. Romeca was not. This is the last proceeding that they had before this. Why didn't the judge ask Holly again about where she got Romeca's mail? I feel like the judge just knew. Like, when we heard what her response was to where did she get the mail or whatever, and her response was, we share the same baby daddy, which is what Romeca said. We share the same baby daddy. That's where her energy comes from. That's where that mail came from. And the judge was able to figure that out from that. So that's should be a part of the investigation. You know what I'm saying? Like, or her bringing in her evidence at that time. So July 14th, he wasn't talking to Romeca at all. Like, he already admitted they hadn't talked in 2 months and they got back cool in July. So it sound like in June, after this court hearing, they had a big falling out. Romeca in court feeling like the energy is coming from him, and she just over it, tired of the back and forth. Like, you can't trust nobody that's against you, with a woman that's lying on you and doing all of this stuff. She's being attacked so many different ways. So anyway, this is just insane. Now think about this, how hard that was for Romeca, going to school, taking care of her son, getting him back and forth to school, helping him with homework and all the stuff that she was doing, and she got them making life hell for her. No, that's not okay. That's crazy. Great. Glad you have your art. Yes, ma'am. So good morning, everyone. Welcome in, Sanford Mom. Man, this girl was going through it. So that also explained the note, when even if my world is falling apart, I'm going to make sure yours is good. She was going through hell at that time, y'all, when she said it. So, the course. Okay, so we're going to have to set a date. What date works for you in July? Because you're either going to have to take a date, because we're not going to set this out until August. Now, I don't know why they couldn't set it out to August, and that's where they came up with the July 14th. So she's supposed to be able to get the money for a lawyer and all of that in less than a month's time. That's hard for somebody that's already going through all of the stuff that she's going through. So Romeca responds, we can probably do like after the holidays, maybe July 14th or the 21st. The court says, all right, how about July 14th at 1:30? And like I said, this is the actual court date that she was not at. He made it clear what was gonna happen, and we're gonna get to that. So how about July 14th at 1:30? That works for you, ma'am? Romeca says yes. Okay. And Holly said yes too, because Holly ain't got nothing to lose. She ain't got no job. She ain't got a damn thing to do but stalk Romeca. Okay, and then the court said, all right, Miss Johnson, does July 14th work for you, ma'am? And she says yes. The court says, so July 14th at 1:30 for the respondent for attorney. And that was pretty much that, but then they had a few disagreements after this. So let's see. So he says, so Miss Johnson, if you fail to appear, the court will dismiss your order. Miss Blackman, if you fail to appear, you could have a default. Hold on. You could have a default order against you, which would entitle Miss Johnson to a 2-year order against you. Okay, so with that being said, if the judge said that at that time and Romeca didn't show up for court, then but he said you could have a default order against you. So she could have. He didn't say she would have. So it's still up in the air, but we do know that they said it was served in open court, but it really wasn't, according to what he just said. And so that's kind of in the air, but it just sounds like it was on shaky grounds anyway, because they hadn't even got to the point where they bring in evidence, because Holly was asking him in this court proceeding that, you know, should she bring evidence then or something to that effect. So she could a 2-year order against you. Okay, And so the respondent, which was Romeca, she said, okay. And then Holly says, do I have to appear in person over Zoom or over Zoom? Because, this was a different phase, right? And the judge says, the respondent, which was Romeca, she said, because I don't want to be around her. I don't trust her. And she shouldn't have trusted her. She shouldn't have trusted her at all. That's why I wonder if Romeca even seen Holly out there that day. DeMarcus says that judge was biased and probably a family friend. That's crazy. I mean, it does seem that way. Like, just a little bit. Like how he was saying, like, we can't extend it to August when she clearly needs a lawyer. She's not rich. She needs time to get it. He didn't hear. I know that court is strict too, though. Like when you try to say things out of turn, like when she was trying to bring up things that she wanted to talk about, he kind of, because that's not what they was there for at that moment. But it sucks because Holly shouldn't have got nothing because she had not proven anything. That whole default thing shouldn't have even, because she hadn't proved anything at this point when they were in court in June. So for her to even get it by default, to me, is shaky. Like, she shouldn't have been able to get it by default because she ain't proved nothing. She just running her damn mouth, and now you got both of them in court saying the same things. Like, oh, well, she messing with me. She posting my kid. She's calling my job or coming know where I'm at or harassing me on social media. So how do you then decide who gets it? You need to see the proof. You need to see the evidence, and they hadn't even got to that point. Because old girl just decided, that was good enough, and she was gonna just go on and take her out. What does she post? Sometimes you just gotta start unaliving MFs. I got that in here somewhere, unless I took it out. But yeah, she was saying stuff like that. Here it is. Now, what's the date on that? January, right? January. They was in court in January. I mean, it started in December. So, yeah, January is after December. So you're in court complaining, but you posting stuff like this. Sometimes you just gotta just start unaliving MFs. That don't sound like no scared person. But one thing for sure, too, for certain, a scared person will kill you. Because they ain't gonna bust a grape in a fruit fight. So, do I have to appear in court over Zoom? Romeca said, that was Holly. Romeca says, because I don't want to be around her. I don't trust her. The court said, hold on. Both parties can appear on Zoom on the 14th, okay? So they didn't want to hear nothing about nothing that they wasn't there for that day. Because at some point, and it's coming up here, the respondent says, because I don't want to be around her, I don't trust her. The court saying, hold on. Both parties can appear by Zoom on the 14th, okay? The respondent, thank you, perfect. That was Romeca. The petitioner, should I bring evidence still? Right? So she asking about evidence that shows that she ain't showed none yet. So let's see what the judge has to say about that. The court says not on the 14th. So even on the 14th, it wasn't for that. Hold on. Hold on. So happening right now is Miss Blackman wants to seek legal advice for an attorney. So on the 14th, hopefully Miss Blackman will appear with her attorney. Wait, what am I missing? Hold on. So she asking about the evidence. Do she need to bring it? So it says the hearing after the 14th, and when we set it for the hearing, that's when you bring your evidence, Miss Johnson. And then Romeca said, as far as witnesses, if they can't appear, can they write a statement? If they can appear. And the court said, Miss Blackman, hold on one sec. I will give you an opportunity to ask questions. Miss Johnson, do you have any other questions? And then Quadajah says, yeah, I also want to know. I also want you to know my child was posted. She posted my child maliciously on TikTok. I don't post my son on social media. Romeca said, yes, you do. And then it says they were talking over each other. The chorus was saying, stop, 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 stop. 7 times they told him to stop. Both of them, because they were talking over each other. Now, I had read this part in one of my other live streams, but I didn't have the other part. And then this is when they told Romeca, which I don't know, both of them was talking over each other, but this is where they said, Miss Blackman, you're not doing anything to help your case of why Miss Johnson needs an order against you. Okay? One at a time. Now that's when that all of that was said. And it's just like, well, if they was both talking over each other, it do seem like he checking Romeca more, right? It do seem like that. So because they were talking over each other, he tells Romeca that you're not doing a good job. You're not doing anything to help your case of why Miss Johnson needs an order against you. One at a time. Now that's crazy. But to me, she ain't doing the good to say that she's scared and in fear for her life, but you sitting up there arguing back and forth with Romeca. Or trying to get your point across, not sounding like somebody that was scared at all. That's crazy. So and then it says one at a time, Miss Johnson, if you feel concerned about your child, hold on. If you feel concerned about your child, wait, hold on. You can call the police department. Okay? I can't help you because it's a petition only at this time. So that's literally what he said. I cannot help you because it's a petition at this time. But because she missed the court date that they discussing right here, by default, it was supposed to be granted, allegedly, according to what he's saying here. So again, I don't know if it was in place or not, but it still didn't give her a license to damn kill. Either way, okay? So Yeah, if you feel concerned about your child's safety, because when she originally filed these charges back in December, she was still pregnant. She didn't have this child until February. So at the time, her baby wasn't added to it. But later on, it is documentation that shows that her baby was added to the case. So she trying to act like Romeca, was gonna do some harm to her child. So she really was rubbing it on. She was in fear for her life so much that she was provoking Romeca and saying all kind of crazy stuff her dang on self. I'm gonna look at y'all comments in a minute. I'm gonna get past this. I can't help you because it's a petition at this time. Any questions, Miss Johnson? Hold on, let's see. Any questions, Miss Johnson? And she says, no, I'm asking about how do I go about pressing charges for my son being posted on social media? The court says I will contact the police department or contact the assistant state's attorney's office. Okay. Deja says okay. And then the court says, Miss Blackman, do you have any questions? Let me see. Okay, and then so Miss Blackman, do you have any questions? And so hold on, let me see. I might have this one in there. So y'all seeing some of this. Okay. And so the respondent says, so yes, she went on social media and spread rumors saying my son has boils, that he knows where that she knows where I work, that my car broke down. I had to inform my job that someone of her nature might appear. I'm actually moving from my apartment now because she has searched my address. That's crazy. So, do anybody see anybody scared here? She just run, you throwing rocks and hiding your hand. That's crazy. Trying to make her appear to be crazy. And those guys, narcissistic guys, they make you think you are crazy. Like they will make you feel like you are going nuts. That's why you got to get away from people like this. So I'm actually moving from my apartment now because she has researched my address. We have a mutual friend. So there's also a friend that I had talked about in my last live stream that she's supposed to been going back and forth asking her all kind of questions about Romeca allegedly, like do she like to fight and what type of person she is. She trying to size her up behind the scene. And it sounds like this friend also was playing both sides, possibly telling Romeca what she was saying and vice versa. And that's sad, man. That is sad. All for somebody, like somebody said in the chat, that don't even claim